I slid my key into the lock. It didn't turn. At first I thought I was too tired, my hands too shaky after 18 hours on my feet. But then I tried again. The lock had been changed. The porch light flicked on. She was there, my stepmother, arms crossed, a smirk sharp enough to cut glass. "Pay us $36,000, she said, and we'll let you in. Your sister needs a vacation." I looked at her, silent. She expected me to break, to beg, to plead for scraps in the house my father built. Instead, I nodded once, understood, and I walked away. When my father remarried, I forced myself to accept her. He was lonely, and she played the part of a savior, smiling too wide, laughing too loudly, cooking meals that felt staged. I wanted to believe she cared, but small fractures appeared early. My things went missing. Bills I'd left on the counter vanished. She'd smile sweetly and say, "You must have misplaced them." When Dad died, she wept like a widow in a movie, clutching tissues, while I stood by the coffin and felt her eyes on me, already measuring what she now controlled. Still, I stayed, because the house was his, and because I wanted to believe family was salvageable. It wasn't just the changed lock. It was the months leading up to it. Her whispers behind doors. My sister suddenly cold, distant, parroting her words. Bank notices addressed in my name, then rerouted. She wanted me out of the house, out of the picture. And then came her ultimatum. $36,000, dangled like ransom money, for a home I already owned half of. I didn't rage, I didn't cry. I let her think she'd won. That night I sat in my car, parked down the street, my uniform still stained with blood and iodine. My body begged for sleep, but my mind was clear. I pulled up the property deed on my phone, half mine, legally untouchable. I scrolled through bank records, payments she'd been making with Dad's estate money, not for bills, for cruises, spas, luxuries, all traceable, all taxable. She thought she'd trapped me, but all she'd done was give me leverage. The plan. I drafted one letter, just one, calm, precise, a scalpel, not a hammer. Inside, I listed everything: her unauthorized withdrawals, tax evasion trails, property fraud implications, the penalties, prison time in black and white. I didn't threaten, I didn't scream, I only stated facts. And at the bottom, I added one line. By noon tomorrow, transfer sole ownership of the house to me. Sign it, and I'll bury this. Refuse, and the IRS won't. At dawn, I slipped the envelope under the front door. By morning, her shriek split the neighborhood. Windows flew open. Neighbors peered out, curious, then alarmed. I stood on the sidewalk, sipping coffee, watching the show. She burst outside in a robe, letter trembling in her hands, her face pale, her voice high-pitched, cracking under pressure. "You can't do this," she screamed. "You wouldn't dare." But her eyes betrayed her. She knew I already had. Within hours, her calls flooded my phone, first pleading, then bargaining, then threatening. I didn't answer. By noon, I got the notification. The transfer was complete. The house was mine, entirely mine. That night, I unlocked the door with my new key. It turned smoothly. The air inside smelled the same, old wood, faint detergent, but it felt different, lighter, mine again. Her absence was louder than her presence had ever been. She wanted to sell me my own bloodline, to auction off my father's legacy for a vacation fund. She thought I'd fold. Instead, I made her choke on her own greed. I didn't need to raise my voice, didn't need to fight. I just reminded her of the truth she'd buried under arrogance. I am my father's child, and this house will never belong to thieves. So when I tell you I walked away that night and said only one word, understood, what I meant was, your game is over. Mine has just begun.